Welcome to the Big Motor Small Blade podcast. I'm Seth Dolby, joined by my co-host Buddy Foley, and today we have Peter Strada from TSJ Sports. Buddy's losing his mind because I continue to fuck this thing up. If you guys listened to Push the Pass last week, you'll know that we let Seth host. And if you listened all the way through, which I'm almost willing to put everything on that you didn't. Oh, you should. It was pretty good. Go hear the first take where Seth calls himself Buddy. And he fucking just did it again before this. Yeah. I break a leg, I guess. Anyway, we just, and by just got done, I mean 24 hours ago, got done watching the NASCAR Cup Series race at Gateway.
Yep.
And Austin Cindric found a way to win.
Yeah.
Somehow. It only took a minor implosion from the top two. But
shit.
Anyway, so how all right. Generally speaking, how did we feel about Gateway? How do we feel about Gateway generally? And also, how did we feel about this race generally? Peter,
you're the guest. You can go ahead.
I think Gateway does an amazing job of promoting their one race. The fans obviously turn out. I think they said yesterday was another sellout crowd. The crowd looked awesome from the Wide Shots TV show, but the racetrack itself, I mean, it's no different than New Hampshire or Martinsville or Phoenix with this package. It's tough to pass. Tires really don't wear out, and that's just a product of the next gen. I know it's the intermediate package yesterday, but just the next gen on flatter, shorter tracks.
So Peter, he did a great job of saying why we should go to Gateway. I don't understand why we went to Gateway. From a racing aspect, no clue why we went to Gateway. I mean, I get the market and everything, but God, I can't recall either of the two previous Gateway races. I can't recall feeling anything other than like ho hum about it. Like they're not good races at all. So yeah, I was not a fan. I was drinking a lot of brewskis and chilling at the pool. And I was not missing much. I had it on, but I didn't seem like I missed much.
All right, I'm glad we're all in agreement. I don't like this racetrack. I've never really particularly liked this racetrack. I don't like it really when IndyCar goes. I don't like it when NASCAR goes. But yeah, they draw the crowd, and it's good to be in that market. So I guess until we find an alternative for it, I guess we should keep going.
It is a perfectly wrong length of racetrack.
Yeah, it really is.
Like
the straights are just, well, I think the straights are too long almost.
I mean, it's just.
I think it would work better on the Gen 6 car. The Gen 6 car, I think, would have been solid here.
Yeah.
Of course, the Gen 6 car was better everywhere. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
I don't even think I'm not apologizing. Okay, it wasn't better at Charlotte, but other than that.
No, it was not better at Charlotte.
Charlotte, Kansas, or Homestead, those are the only tracks it wasn't better at. And anyway, I guess we don't need to get on that one. But we're going to go ahead and get into it. The big news of the week, obviously, which we all kind of saw coming, but Stewart-Haas Racing announced this week that they're going to shut down at the end of the season. They're selling, yeah, you're shocked. They're selling all 4 charters, kind of a fire sale. They're kind of selling for under market value.
Peter, you want to get one?
They're maybe selling for a bit off the asking price, or not that far off the asking price.
Well, we already know, we know there's one available still. So I don't know, maybe we could pull it together. We get Chuck on board. He's got tens of dollars. So
does he?
I don't know. I'm being generous. But anyway, yeah. I kind of share the sentiments of most in the industry that have spoken about it. It's disappointing from I guess the standpoint of having guys like Tony Stewart and Gene Haas in the series, as long as they've been around, as long as much as they've done for NASCAR. But at the same time, the writing's been on the wall here for a long time. and Tony's clearly been checked out. I don't know if Gene was ever that interested because I mean, he's obviously been somewhat interested, but he's never been.
He started the F1 team. I don't feel like.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely not since the F1 team. And it's shown in the performance of the team since 2021, for sure. Like, they were able to hold on there for a while because Rodney Childers and Kevin Harvick were really good. And then ever since then, it's been a downward spiral. So, Peter, I know you were a Tony Stewart fan growing up. How do you feel about all this?
Well, you said it perfectly. Tony was my guy growing up. When I first started watching racing as a fan, I cheered for that red Office Depot number 14 car. And I know Office Depot left a year after his last title, so they've not been on the car recently. But Mahindra, the red pacing they've had the past couple of years with Chase Briscoe, kind of brought back some good memories. It'll be really weird not seeing a number 14 in that font, let alone the other three cars on track next year.
Yeah, I obviously have some personal connection to Stewart-Haas Racing as well. Look behind me. I think every car in the shot is a Stewart-Haas car. I was a big fan of Kevin going there when he went there. I thought it was going to be a good move. But as I've looked back on it, I realized pretty much since they went to Ford, well, I'm not going to say that. Really, since 2019, Kevin's been taking Kevin and Rodney Childers have been taking, the 25th place cars that Tony and Gene give them and winning with it. And I mean, like I said, I don't think Gene's been really invested since he started the F1 team. That was apparent. Tony Stewart, he's got a wife now. He's got his drag racing team. He's got all these external pieces that, NASCAR never really was Tony's passion to begin with, I don't feel like. I mean, obviously he won championships, won a lot of races, but he was always an IndyCar guy. And he, dirt racing. And looking back on it, hindsight's obviously 2020. I'm not shocked by any means. And Kevin Harvick held that team together. Like, I'm sorry. If Kevin Harvick wasn't at that team, they would have been debunked 4 or 5 years ago, I feel like. But I literally think Tony, the only reason Tony stayed as invested as he did in the team was because of Kevin Harvick. And because he had that one car that he knew he could count on to bring them success. He doesn't have that anymore.
And within a year, he's out.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's telling.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the reports around the time Kevin announced retirement that Stewart-Haas Racing was trying to get him to sign back on for another year or two. And Kevin wasn't interested. And he stayed true to that, obviously, because you get a point. He's not interested anymore. He's probably, if he had cars that were as fast as they were in 2020, probably could have been still interested. But obviously, with the way they ran the last 3 seasons of his career, they won 2 races in 3 years. And those were back-to-back.
And Kevin wasn't really that interested in running in 22 and 23.
Yeah. Right. I remember he said on podcasts over the past year that they had to practically twist his arm to get him to sign back on in 21.
I remember midway through 2019, June 20th. I remember the day, 2019. I remember a report coming out from Jenna Fryer that said Kevin Harvick is eyeing the Fox booth for 2021. And I remember walking out of the door that day, and my mom was like, what's wrong with you? And I turned around and started damn near bursting in tears. I was like, I don't want Kevin to retire. I wasn't ready, But I mean, Kevin was ready back then. I drank a lot of Fireball that day. I remember that. I mean, ever since then, I mean, what do they have to offer? I mean, like I said, it just all makes sense, hindsight, that this is happening.
I think the unfortunate thing for the team themselves, the actual guys working on the cars and driving the cars, is they've stepped up this year. They've been better. They've been quicker. Josh Berry's been really good. Noah Gregson's been really good. Chase Briscoe's been a lot more noticeable than he has been the past year and a half or so. Ryan Preece still sucks. Yes, Ryan Preece still sucks. He's absolutely not getting a Cup ride next year. Yeah. Which, whatever. Some guys aren't cut out for Cup. That is what it is.
Where do we think those guys are going?
I mean, there's four new cars. Here's the problem is, well, this made a lot more. Well, I don't know.
I have an idea.
I don't think there's room for all of them.
I have an
there's
idea.
definitely not room for all of them.
Openings at a front row. And you got
that's true.
You guys are also a part of this. And you got 6 drivers for however many seats.
Yeah, and Harrison Burton's probably not going to be in the 21 again.
I got an idea. I think Burton's out. Briscoe goes to the 14. I think that's pretty
21.
The 21. I think that's one of the worst. I think that's a pretty like low kept secret, right?
Yeah.
I think Gregson. This is just me. I don't really have much basis for this. I think Gregson could go to RCR. I think Dylan steps away. I think that's a perfect pairing.
If Dylan stepped away, would it not be Austin Hill?
Austin Hill doesn't really seem too interested in going to Cup.
What source do you have on that?
He said it on Dale Jr.'s podcast.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Why would he not want to go to Cup?
I don't know.
Okay.
He's got a kid, maybe. I don't know. I don't care. I don't want him to.
Okay.
Fuck
anyway,
Austin Hill.
I don't want him in Cup either.
Fuck Austin Hill.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want him in Cup. I just figured that made the most sense. But
and I think Barry gets one of the front row cars.
So there's going to be 2 front row cars, right?
That's
so
where
they're bringing back what we're assuming is the 36.
Yeah.
So is there any rumors on that?
I mean, I would imagine
Custer potentially aligned to that.
Custer,
but nothing set in stone. I think it's still a very fluid situation. Herbst obviously has many starts as front row, so there's a connection there, and he brings as well. But who knows?
Yeah, I've also heard Custer to the second Rick Ware car, which I don't really know why you would. If Kaz can put the money together, I mean, give him a shot. Kaz has done great.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, likelihood, not necessarily unfortunate. Well, yeah, unfortunate for Kaz, but I would imagine Cole Custer can bring together more money than Kaz Gralla.
I mean, shit, take, steal Bikini Zone from Natalie Decker. You stole her other sponsor. Fuck it.
It's true. I mean, I'd rather sponsor Kaz Gralla than Natalie Decker.
Yeah.
But, whoops. Anyway, I had a point here and it didn't come out.
I hate when that happens.
It does. But yeah, anyway, sad situation all around. Piggybacking, great transition off to another sad, stupid situation.
I do want to say we have someone potentially coming on here in the next week or so to talk about the state of employment in NASCAR, and that kind of ties into the Stewart-Haas sale, and obviously all those guys are looking for jobs. So stay tuned on that. We're gonna have something interesting coming.
Yep, for sure. Who do we think is getting the other 2311 car? Is there a beat on that one? I heard a Riley Herbst rumor that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I've heard that as well, but also it seems like whenever he does win a truck race, Denny's pretty high on Corey Heim, whenever highlighting him on
He's already running.
And Heim in a few weeks in Nashville is running the 67 car, so that could be something.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Also, I don't know if I actually heard this or if I'm making this up. I could see Gregson going there. I mean, Toyota said a couple of years ago they're like, we kind of made a mistake because we let a lot of guys go. Toyota let Byron go. They let Gregson go. They let
Gregson go twice though.
Yeah,
and last time was as recently. It was last year.
If you go back far enough, they let Larson go too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So who knows? They would try to get him back. Yeah, I don't think that happens, but they let him go last time for Larson-esque reasons.
Yeah,
Larson.
Speaking of Kyle Larson, Hendrick Motorsports applied for a waiver. Obviously, if you've been living under a rock somehow, Kyle Larson missed the Coca-Cola 600 to run a better race, and missed the Coca-Cola 600, unfortunately. And Hendrick Motorsports applied for a waiver on Thursday. We haven't heard anything yet. Now, why they waited till Thursday to apply for the waiver, I'm not 100% sure. That seemed a little odd to me, like no urgency whatsoever. I'm not really sure what all that's about, but we haven't heard anything. So what do we think?
Peter, you take this one.
It's no different than the photo finish controversy of the first Daytona 500. They're just trying to play it out as long as possible to keep it in the news cycle and get attention from it.
interesting thing. That's an interesting thing to do. I mean, I think we're all of the understanding that they should give him a waiver. I mean,
Absolutely.
Chase Elliott. The argument, the main argument, is that Larson chose not to run the Coke 600. You could argue that Chase Elliott chose not to run Gateway last year because he chose to right hook Denny Hamlin, knowing the consequences. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, they should give him a waiver. I can understand every point of why they shouldn't give him one. But they've done nothing that indicates that should be the case. So, I mean, I don't know. I have an idea of what I feel like they should do in the future. And with waivers, I don't know if we want to get into that right now, or you say your piece on it, and then we'll circle back around.
All right, so I got a couple things here.
Yeah.
The argument always when the suspensions comes up is that getting suspended and then therefore not being allowed to qualify for the playoffs is too much of a penalty. Ultimately, what that does is make getting suspended not a penalty. It's really not a penalty.
Yeah.
Like, yes, in Chase Elliott's case, I guess it could have kept him out of the playoffs last year. But also he could have won a race, which in the past that team has been capable of doing. So it's really not that much of a penalty. Bubba Wallace got it, obviously, during the playoffs, and he was in the owners' playoffs or whatever. But anyway, so if you get suspended in the regular season, it's apparently not much of a penalty. You just get a week off. You get a week off. All right, let's circle back to 2020, another Kyle Larson adjacent situation. Matt Kenseth, simply for existing and not running a race in 2020 up until the COVID time started, he got a waiver. The explanation, I don't know. I don't remember if it was the NASCAR's explanation. I feel like it was, but I can't remember exactly. But the general consensus was, don't punish the team because Kyle got in trouble. Well, owners' playoffs have always been a thing.
Yeah.
So you're really not punishing the team at all. Missing 4 races because you were retired is definitely not within the spirit of the rule.
I mean, and I'd give Matt Kenseth a waiver just based on what he did to Joey Logano at Martinsville.
I mean, that's fine.
For me, at least.
It's irrelevant to my argument right now, and honestly irrelevant to any argument, so I'm going to ignore it. But I would think in the spirit of the rule, Kyle Larson didn't go to the beach that weekend. He didn't post pictures of his sandy legs saying, oh, good thing I'm not in Charlotte right now getting pissed on.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
No. Well, anyway, he was out promoting NASCAR.
Yeah.
In a way, he's also trying to further his own racing resume, but he's ultimately promoting NASCAR. The Indy 500 has such a bigger audience than the Coca-Cola 600 that people are going to watch that, and people probably tuned in. I know I made a point to tune in to the 600, and I was keeping up with his flight. I was excited. Dude. I was like, let's see this. I know he's not going to get points for it. I know whatever. It doesn't count. Technically, he missed a race. I didn't care, dude. Obviously, I was going to tune into the 600 anyway, so I guess that's a bad example. But ultimately, my point is we've given waivers to guys who have no business being in the playoffs. Back to Tony Stewart, 2014. He has the unfortunate incident up in New York. He steps out of the car for 3 weeks. He gets a waiver. He was like 30th in points. I'm sorry, he had no business being in the playoffs that season, and he voluntarily stayed out. For whatever reason, he voluntarily stayed out. If you want to get really technical with it, Eric Jones voluntarily missed Darlington this year.
Yeah, I guess, because he was cleared to race.
He did. So if you want to get really technical with it, he chose not to be a part of that race when he was medically cleared to do so. Yeah. I don't know how he felt, but if you really want to get that technical with it, I think it's not worse than Kyle Larson, but it's in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
If you want to take it to the point of he chose to not race, then ultimately they're not different. So I think I'm honestly, I am genuinely at this point starting to think they're not going to give it to him because I think they're upset.
Peter, what do you think? Are you hearing anything?
I think they are going to give it to him. Whether or not we get an explanation on why it's taken over a week, I don't know if we'll ever get that. I don't know if Eldon Sawyer or whoever will go on serious and explain their thought process or not. But my thing is the only drivers who have never gotten waivers before when requested have either failed substance abuse policy or not made an attempt to race at whichever race. I think it was Grant Enfinger and Casgrala another year in Xfinity. Larson had every intention to run the Coke 600 to get there in time. It's just that Mother Nature intervened, and I just don't feel like you punished him over something he had no control over.
And hang on real quick. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, but I understand the argument. Ultimately, I do understand the argument of he decided to run this race instead of the Coca-Cola 600. But honestly, I think you can look at it as the points leader missed out on the race that scores the most points. I think that's punishment enough. And you look at it, he went from 35 points up to after this week, 21 points back. But he can still win the regular season title. Here's my biggest issue. Honestly, my biggest issue with it is if you don't grant him the waiver and somehow he goes on a tear, because that sounds like a very Kyle Larson thing to do, he would technically win the regular season title and not be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That would make your series look like a complete joke.
Right. Imagine trying to explain that to a casual fan who already has trouble understanding the playoffs as is.
Imagine trying to explain that to a diehard fan who likes the old Winston Cup format.
I mean, dude, ultimately, it's been said on many other places other than this show, but I'm going to say it again. I mean, it would be a huge black eye on the sport. I think ultimately this is just I get it. NASCAR's mad because he ran the 500 and not the 600. Sure. Okay. But you're taking your ball and you're going home, whatever. But like, it's just a weird thing to dig your heels in about. Like this is aside from being pissed off about it, being happy because you don't like Kyle Larson because he beat your favorite driver, Chase Elliott. Whatever. Like, it's just weird. It's just so weird. It's such a weird thing to be like, no, this is it. This is our final fucking straw. I don't know. I think the best compromise, they're not going to do it. I think this is what they should do in the future for waivers. And we could just get rid of waivers and this can just be the rule from now on. If you miss a race, you have to re-qualify for the playoffs, essentially. Kyle Larson has say, look, you missed a race, you're out of the playoffs, but if you win again, you can get back in. But you have to win again. You can't point your way in.
So he had 17 playoff points before Charlotte that have been zeroed out as of now. Would he get those 17 back or no?
I would say yes. But that, I don't know.
I have a perfect solution.
I mean, because, hold on, I do want to say that Ross Chastain switched his declaration of points. He was going to be a Cup or Xfinity driver in Xfinity in 19. He was going to be an Xfinity driver. He wins a truck race and then switches to truck points. And they said, hey, you have to requalify for the playoffs. You have to win another race to get in. And he did and made the Final Four. And no one said anything about it. I thought that was fine. I was like, that's perfectly fair. I think that's fair. He's run every truck race. Like, yeah, let him do it. I think that should be what they do here. Probably not going to do it, but I think that's how they should handle it in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I think here's my biggest question. If they don't grant him a waiver, I know Kyle said this would not be the case, but I just saw a clip from Actions Detrimental that I will listen to tomorrow. But I just saw a clip from it where Denny said, if I'm Kyle, I'm going to pick and choose from here on out if I don't get a waiver.
What Boris said in the car.
Maybe. Ultimately, Kyle, obviously, we've seen before, Kyle is all in on getting the 5-car championship if he can't get it.
Yeah.
but it wouldn't really hurt if he skipped a couple races. He doesn't need to run He doesn't need to run Daytona.
No.
There's probably a handful of other races he wouldn't want to run if he didn't absolutely have to.
New Hampshire.
Probably New Hampshire. He was good at New Hampshire like one time. So does he do that? I think it's possible. I don't think Rick Hendrick would say no.
I don't think Rick cares, but I think one race maybe if something big came up. But
God, I wish if this situation plays out, I wish he would go run the Iowa IndyCar doubleheader.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I think that could be a very logical thing to go do.
Yeah, that would be the one exception.
Because that would play into the him running the double next year and help him out. So I don't know. I think ultimately this is your fault.
Probably.
And the reason I think NASCAR's just getting back at you for having Jeff Gordon be in the playoffs in 2013, your then favorite driver.
They did that. I didn't do that. They did that.
Well, they gave it to you because they felt bad for poor little Seth. That is, Jeff Gordon wasn't going to be in the playoffs. And so they're like, all right, we're taking that back. Give it back. Kyle's out.
I wasn't even that upset that he didn't make the playoffs that year because they were bad that year. So I wasn't even that mad about it.
Yeah. But
anyway, hopefully all this doesn't deter Kyle from trying to do the double again. We hadn't had rain at Indy in 20 years.
Or anybody else.
Anybody else. Hopefully we don't have rain for another 20 years. Is that Chuck?
That is a wild Chuck.
That was a wild Chuck. So anyway, hopefully this doesn't hurt anything. So we've got wild guest Chuck Folsom on the phone.
Chuck Folsom, Buddy Poley, Big Motor Small Blade. How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you? Am I live on the Big Motor Small Blade podcast right now?
You are, yes.
Oh, Lordy mercy. Can anybody else hear me?
Yes, we can, Chuck.
We can hear you. They can hear you.
Okay. I just want to say, first of all, hi, you guys. Second of all,
hey, Chuck.
Hi to everybody listening. And this is my 2-minute rant of the weekend since I'm not on the show tonight. So, special segment tonight. First of all, Shane's a baller.
Yeah,
Shane is the GOAT. He is a baller. He is awesome. I think that drift he did around the racetrack at Portland was maybe the coolest thing I've ever seen. Minus the Carl Edwards backflip on Hanger. I think the trucks raced at Gateway. I don't know. I didn't hear or see anything about it. I don't even know who won.
Behind.
I know.
Oh.
Okay, well, typical. The Cup race at Gateway, from what I hear, it wasn't very good, but it happened.
You heard correctly.
Yeah, and then I did watch the last 25 laps. I saw Christopher Bell and Ryan Blaney actually race each other until GGR motor went and Penske fuel calculations went, and Austin Cindric won a race.
You saw the whole race. You saw the entire race.
Yeah. So we live in a world where Austin Cindric is in the playoffs and Kyle Larson isn't. I'm going to leave that there.
We just got done talking about waivers.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this now. Sorry to get to the segment early. My sundress is the Cars Tour because they're awesome, and that was the race of the year up in Langley.
Go watch on tour.
Yep, go watch on tour this week. My dumbass is Fox because they suck, and they missed the Iron shot, and they missed Josh Berry slowing, and Ty Gibbs pit crew doing acrobatics, and just copy and pasted all the graphics from last week and everything else they did wrong. They kind of do it like a little kid during Blaney and Bell's battle because that's what we all wanted to see. Woo NASCAR, woo Fox. Anyway,
pretty sure that kid was about Chuck's age.
I just want to say I won because dirt late model supremacy is greater than anything sprint car related.
All right, shut him off.
Kyle Reddick, and I won. So with that,
don't fucking talk about dirt late models on this show. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah, it's gross. Anyway,
he's calling back.
It's like,
hey, you know the rule. Don't talk about dirt late models on here.
Okay, I'm sorry that I was right and was rudely interrupted.
Oh, you said no. All right, who are you picking? I'm done with listening to you.
I'm picking Cam Landers to
who?
Sonoma.
What?
is it Waters or Waiters? How do you say
it's
it?
Waters.
Fucking sound it out, dumbass. How do you spell water, Chuck?
Waters.
How do you spell water?
And Waters, sorry.
Jeez, we just lost all of our viewership from New Zealand or Australia just because you're an idiot.
No, hey, guys, forgive me. I'm in the middle of dinner and I'm rushing this, okay?
God damn
God.
it.
Even when you're
on the
not-
show, we get dinner with Chuck.
If you're all right, dinner with Chuck cannot be escaped. So that's it for me. I'll quit boring you guys. Have a good rest of the show. Hope you guys enjoy. Peter, Buddy, Peter and
He's
Seth
Buddy.
are awesome. Buddy's debatable. He's gonna hang up on me again. And bye, guys. See you next week.
Hey,
Chuck.
tell Abby she's a sniper's dream. Anyway. Back
A
to our
Darlington
regularly.
sniper, maybe.
No, he's married. That's not what
that's
I meant. But back to our regularly scheduled programming.
All right. So speaking of Kyle Larson,
Guys, we really tried not to have Chuck on the show, but I mean, Chuck is inevitable.
so dinner with Chuck is also inevitable.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's hysterical. But anyway, speaking of Kyle Larson, he and Kyle Busch got into a little pissing contest in turn 1 at the end of stage 2 this week. Kyle Larson tried to aggressively side draft Kyle Busch, got into him a little bit in the left rear quarter. Kyle Busch took exception to that, ran him up, ran him down a bit,
One way to
made
put
some
it.
contact, squeezed him into the corner, and Larson went around and took Busch with him. I'll be honest, I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Go ahead.
I think that was really stupid from the both of them for one stage point. Like, not a stage win. Like, I could kind of almost maybe understand it for a stage win because playoff points this side or the other. 7? That was really stupid, guys. It's really dumb. And maybe Kyle Larson doesn't have anything to lose because he's not in the playoffs, and Buddy really wants to talk. So go ahead, Buddy.
Kyle Busch is a fucking idiot.
I kind of agree.
Kyle Larson, look, it's hard to pass. It's really fucking hard to pass, right? Kyle Larson trying to pass Kyle Busch. Go for it, dude. Like 100%. You fucked up a little bit because you're Kyle Larson and you fuck up sometimes. That's fair. You're not in the playoffs. Who gives a shit? What's Kyle Busch? You're on the cusp of also not being in the playoffs. And you decide, you know what? I'm getting in this pissing match with this guy right here, right now, on lap fucking 45 of where we were at, Gateway. Like, dude, what is going on with this man? He is vintage Kyle Busch. I mean, he wrecks Ricky Stenhouse for fucking nothing to do at the All-Star race and rightfully got clocked in the face. And he's lucky it was Kyle Larson, or else he might have got clocked again, because that was really dumb. That was really dumb, and it serves him right to get taken out of that deal. So yeah, I mean, I like Kyle Busch. I think he's great for the sport. I think I just like him. I think he's generally a well-respected driver, generally a clean driver, but I think he's blown his head off his shoulders a couple times in the past 3 weeks, and it's really dumb. Really dumb.
Yeah, it's hard to be defending what KB did here. I'll specify which Kyle. Yeah, Larson did rough him up a little bit off of turn 4, but you got Busch just be the bigger driver there. Let him try if
He is the bigger
Adam
driver.
Ryan, and just be willing to give up a point to still finish in the top 10, potentially finish the race in the top 10 too, and get valuable stage points.
Live to fight another corner.
Exactly.
Well, also, if he just enters the corner like he would have normally, he probably still keeps that spot off of turn 2 anyway, because the outside was working really well on 1 and 2. But he decided, because they made a little bit of contact, and a little bit, they barely made any contact. In a next-gen car, that's basically no contact.
Yeah.
And yeah, to kind of blow your head off your shoulders.
And that's what he did. That's what he did, because Kyle Busch has one of the highest racing IQs in the sport, if not the highest. So if he was in his right mind, he would have known, that's fine. I'm going to go down to the next corner. I'm going to run the top. Kyle ain't going to get by me. And that's going to be game over. But like I just said, live to fight another corner. You can't afford. You are having your best day of arguably of the season. You can't do this.
Agreed. Yeah, that team's just giving up too many points to the first half of the regular season. They got to fight and claw for every point they can get. And they were unloaded top 10 at Gateway, were qualified up there, were up there the entire race up until that point. They really threw away a great opportunity. Even if he finishes back out the top 10, that's a lot of points he didn't get.
Yeah.
All right, hot takes. Do they win this season?
Yeah. Cowboy.
Yes.
I mean, dude, I don't know. I mean, it's Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric literally just won. So
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
anything can happen.
It took an act of God for it to happen, though.
2 acts of God.
2 acts of God, yeah.
Fuck. Where does Kyle Busch win?
3, 2, 1. Just pick one, my guy.
Fuel mileage win.
Pocono fuel mile. That's
Answer.
solid.
One of the two of them.
Yeah.
I think he wins. I think he wins the Roval.
What?
All
right, that's a wild, wacky prediction. If that comes
second
true,
than last year.
that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wait, no, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Byron was second. He was like 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, he was second on the last restart, or
Okay,
one of the
yeah.
last
Anyway.
restarts.
So I guess I'm going to go through out the hot take. I don't think they win this season. I think it's become clear ever since after Gateway last season that this has been one of the worst moves Kyle Busch could have made for his career. RCR is terrible. They're a toxic organization. They're terrible. And they're really bad.
It doesn't make sense.
RCR.
It doesn't make sense because Randall Burnett's a good crew chief. Like,
yeah, him and Reddick were a dynamic duo.
Oh my God. I mean, I think he's great, but yeah,
Well,
make
I think ultimately, I think their success in 2022 and the beginning of 2023 was a product of the next gen car being new. I think this was pretty much inevitable, and they've come back down to the mean of not being very good because they're RCR and they've been living off the legacy of being Dale Earnhardt's team for the past 23 years. And really, that's all they've done. They're like, oh, remember Dale Earnhardt? He was pretty cool, right? We won with him a bunch back in the day. We're not going to do anything to make our current cars better, but we're going to make sure you remember we had Dale Earnhardt.
This isn't like this is not maybe a fair comparison, but I'm going to throw it out there because the room I'm in, the garage Harvick, you better appreciate what Kevin Harvick did in those RCR cars because they weren't much better. Then
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
so,
it was obviously a little bit different back then.
Yeah, it's very different.
But, well, okay. They were really good on contract years. That was about it.
They were very good on contract years.
Yeah, for sure.
I think actually looking at this case, there are RCR cars in here. I think most of the RCR cars are from contract years.
Yeah, that one adds up. Yeah. All right, I guess we'll move on to the actual big topic of the race. Excuse me. Ryan Blaney and Christopher Bell are battling for the lead late.
Yep.
And Bell takes the lead, immediately gets passed right back, and states, I'm blowing up.
What?
I don't really have a whole lot for that. Like, that's super unfortunate. Especially, here's the thing for me, for them, is that they haven't been consistently fast multiple weeks in a row in the regular season. I don't think ever. Mm-hmm. So to finally see it and then it, not work out for them is kind of unfortunate, I think.
I mean, he barely went 300 miles last week. I guess he couldn't make it quite this week, I guess. I don't know.
That's
dude.
true.
I mean, I don't know. I'm waiting to hear if this was a shifting thing or he just flat blew up. I mean,
well, wait, wasn't he one of the teams that had to load his shifter?
Something
Saturday
like that.
night?
Yes, they were.
One of them.
Yeah. Bell was also.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been an older motor too. We don't really know because they have to run them certain amount of races or whatever. So it could have been on its last leg or whatever. But just odd timing. And then of course,
wait, are we cool with Truex pushing him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was just like cars. I thought the one guy from Twitter, Icy Vert, was going to make another meme.
Yeah. Okay.
I was figuring, what's the point of having teammates if you can't help each other out?
Yeah, I thought it was a fair game. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So anyway, Ryan Blaney's cruising to a win, takes the white flag. Oh, he's out of gas. That team fumbles the ball big time at the 1 yard line.
A lot.
They do tend to do this. Honestly, if I were Team Penske, I would think about firing Jonathan Hassler over this. This is inexcusable. And they haven't been great anyway. Don't let the championship fool you, Andrew Curlin. They're not very good, and they haven't been. Yeah, I don't. This is inexcusable. How do you make this high magnitude of a fuck up? That's embarrassing.
Is Jonathan Hassler the NASCAR equivalent of Dan Campbell?
Oh no, Dan Campbell's solid.
He makes gutsy moves though that work like half the time, so I feel like it's a decent.
Hey man, half the time it works every time. This wasn't a gutsy move though. This was just a
poor miscalculation. Yeah, it's some buddy math. That's what that shit was.
This was some buddy math.
This much more fuel, he would have. Well, it's
blurred.
That fuel, he would have won.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I don't know how much water was left in that cup, and I don't know how much. I don't know that they know how much gas was left in that tank. Or
they
that
needed
gas can.
They needed about a body armor's amount.
Oh God, yeah. Get the plug in there. Ryan Blaney in the past, since the next gen car has come out, Ryan Blaney has had 2.5 good races. Or great races. 2.5 great races. I'll put it like that. I'm not counting Talladega. It's Talladega. He only just barely beat Kevin Harvick, who is, the GOAT. I'm kidding. In all seriousness, they have only had 3 great races. They won the 600 last year. They won Martinsville, and he had a good day at Phoenix last year. Other than that, I mean, anytime they've had a good car or winning car, they fucked it up. Yeah. I mean, no, champion, quote unquote. I don't know, dude. Like, yeah, I mean, so the consensus is obviously Blaney didn't know he's going to run out. No one told him to save gas. No one told him. We don't know if he was told to flip a reserve switch. Peter's going to find that out for us.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And what it sounds like is they miscalculated how much fuel was left in the gas can when they weighed it on a previous stop, which made it seem like they should only take 1 can of fuel. How much does anybody know how long it takes to go through 1 can of fuel on a pit stop?
Maybe 4 or 5 seconds, something in that range.
Okay, why are you cutting corners then? Why don't you just get the gas man and plug in the second one and just let him go when the jack drops?
If the second can was plugged in for half a second, they have enough fuel.
If you were that fucking close. I mean, I don't know. Was Blaney... there's all sorts of questions to this too. Like, was Blaney shifting?
He was using a lot more.
If he was shifting differently than he was before, it could affect the fuel mileage. And, he might have been...
He was racing Bellhard
exactly
for a while.
Exactly. That is, the complexion of that last run was totally different than the entire complexion of the race, because a lot of the race you were kind of riding because strategy was kind of flip-flopped. So there's a lot of questions there. And as I talk, I realize there are some built-in excuses for this, but either way, you are at the top level of NASCAR and you are the defending champion and you're making mistakes like a fucking ARCA team.
But if you're the 12 team and essentially, I would imagine they thought they were on the number, or they maybe thought they had a lap.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, you have a 2.5 second lead. You've raced the dog shit out of a competitor there for like 20 laps. You tell him to back up.
Why did you need so badly to lap Daniel Suarez? Because he raced Daniel, he's fighting to stay on the lead lap. Blaney, you got a 2.5 second lead.
Yeah.
Why do you need to get past Daniel Suarez so bad to put him a lap down? Has he been a threat all day? Goddamn well he hadn't been. I promise you, Daniel Suarez, he left his speed back in Monterrey, Mexico. You ain't got to worry about him getting back on the lead lap. So, And just a lot of questions. More questions than answers.
It's like the show Lost,
Sure.
which is just what happened to the 12 team. They lost.
Yeah.
All right. So that opened up an Austin Cindric win in the year of our Lord 2024.
Austin WINDRIC.
No, don't even start this.
Okay.
I do want to not call out. I want to give a shout out to Jordan Bianchi, who said, quote, "This wasn't a fluke." And I laughed my ass off. That was the funniest thing I heard all day.
I will refute this, but go ahead.
It took 2 acts of God for this to happen. Bell had to blow up, and then Blaney's team had to blunder it. Cindric pitted
A lap after Blaney.
a lap after.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, still a blunder. How is this not a fluke? I know they ran good. I don't want to make it sound like I don't think they ran good. Obviously, they were top 5, 10 all day long. I don't want to take that away from them. They were not the race-winning team all day until the 2 contenders got struck down.
Yep. Look,
I'll agree they weren't the race-winning team, but I really like something Denny said on Actions Instrumental. Just proof of, if you're running the top 5, a win will find you. And sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. I mean, Austin Dillon's arguably won all of his races by being lucky over good.
Look.
No, that's a fact. That's not arguable.
Yeah. Look, the best you can do on any given Sunday is put yourself in a position to win, and circumstances dictate the outcome. Austin Cindric and that number 2 team have run like dog shit the past ever since he left Daytona in 2022. That team is run like dog shit. The one good day they have, they put it all together. They were tied. They qualified second. They were top 5 in practice. They were top 5 all race long. I'm not going to fault the guy for being there and putting together a full race when 2 other people screw up, or Bell didn't screw up, but he was in position to win the race. A fluke win is an Austin Dillon win. Any Austin Dillon win out there is basically a fluke. I think Texas is the most arguably not a fluke, and even that one is, a fluke. I don't consider this a fluke win. It's not like Justin Haley winning Daytona in 2019 was a fluke win. I'm sorry, dude. Austin said
he won that on pace.
Yeah. Yeah, they were going about Spire's pace when they called it, huh?
They were going Corey LaJoie's current Spire pace.
Exactly. I mean, dude, look, we see one of these types of win every single year. I have them written down here. We saw McDowell in 23 at Indy. He was quick all year. He was in a playoff spot, but he was never a winning car, and he shows up to Indy last year and has the winning car.
That's
right?
not the same thing as this.
It's not exactly the same thing, but we see a winner like this where a guy who normally is running either outside the top 10 or outside the top 15 randomly shows up with a top 5 car, and a lot of times they win. Like we McDowell, Almirola in 21, Dillon in 20 at Texas. We see one of these every year. And I mean, dude, I don't know. I don't take anything away from Cindric for winning this. I mean,
I guess I'm not making my point clearly. I don't have a problem with this. Like, he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Like you said, they ran great all day. I'm definitely not going to take that away from them. But I'm also not going to pretend this is more than what it was, which was a little fluky.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong. That's racing. It happens. That's racing. But I'm not going to sit here and
people write books and sing songs about how great William Byron is for doing the same thing. So,
I mean, Ryan Blaney fluked into a championship last year. So, like, I mean,
hey, look, you said the year of our Lord and Savior, Austin Cindric's going to win this championship. He's in the playoffs. Mike Joyce said it. You heard it on the broadcast. Kyle Larson ain't. Austin Cindric is champion.
Dude, I almost want to put a bet on that now.
Fuck it, dude.
That adds up way too well.
Yeah. I mean, dude, and here, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot here, but
you've never done that before.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with, the actual win and whether, it was a fluke, whether it's not a fluke, whether whatever. Austin Cindric is on the hot seat. This probably bought him a ride for at least the next year, right? I would say.
Did we buy that?
By what?
Him being on the
He
hot
was
seat.
actually on the hot seat. I don't know with how.
I think Stewart-Haas selling. I think Stewart-Haas selling was probably the best thing that could have happened because I think there's
he may have ended up in the 21. Otherwise, I could see that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I do want to say I used to really not like Austin Cindric because he used to do a lot of dumb shit, a lot of fucked up shit. He wrecked people, do whatever, and he wrecked dog shit out at 60 car all them times. But
everyone wrecked the crap out of the 60 car.
That doesn't fit my narrative, Peter. But I do want to say
here with your logic, Peter.
I do want to say for a Nepo baby, I'm not even going to put the stipulation that for a Nepo baby, Austin Cindric's a really good dude. Like the more and more I hear this dude talk, I really like Austin Cindric. I think he's a really good dude. I think he's a talented race car driver. And I think that if Penske, because let's be real, Penske has not been, they've won the only 2 next gen championships. And as far as the powerhouse goes, as far as the key partner teams across Ford, Toyota, and Chevrolet, they have been the worst. Like hands down the worst. They've been, we've said it on this podcast before. Joe Logano's been good, been great 5 races in his career. Ryan Blaney, big 3. I mean, Austin Cindric, maybe it's 2. Maybe he only needs 2. Maybe he needs this one in Phoenix. Who knows? I think he probably needs more than
one more.
But
one more.
Well, I would argue his Daytona 500 was pretty great. But I think he's gotten an unfair shake. I think he came into the Cup Series at maybe one of the hardest times to come into the Cup Series, even though I think we all kind of thought this car and the schedule would fit his driving style. But I think he came in when Ford was really bad, Penske's really bad, and I think that this deservingly bought him more time in that car if supposedly he was on the hot seat.
So you saying he came in when his manufacturer and his team were down made me think of when William Byron came, and he came in when Chevrolet was still figuring out the new Camaro and when Hendrick was having a rare off year. Now it's saying that Cindric's going to become the next William Byron, but I think it's somewhat comparable.
Very comparable.
I could see it because Byron's not very good. No, I stand by that. What is Byron, like, seriously, no, hang on. I want to bring this up. I barely noticed William Byron except the races he's won this year. What has he done?
What
has he done?
Stage 1 at the 600 was his first stage win of the year. So literally it's all like brand. Yeah, I remember them saying that on, as I was listening to the radio broadcast at the time, they said that was his first stage win of the year.
This rat bastard
kind of proves my point. I mean, I guess
honestly,
he gave up 2 stage wins at COTA because, we brought stage cautions back. That's really stupid. But let's give him those. So that's 3. Kyle Larson has 7. Let's put that in perspective. Kyle has 7. I think Denny Hamlin has like 5 or 6.
What does Kyle Larson matter? He's not even in the playoffs.
That's true. Good point. Anyway. All right.
Fucking scrub, dude.
That's true. All right. Do we want to do bitch and scale?
Before we do that,
okay.
We have an announcement.
We do.
We have it. Yes, you know.
Oh, yeah, we do. We do.
Dumbass. Okay. So, got how I was going to start this announcement. Obviously, we don't have a rundown from Down Under to give you guys in this episode because if you
all already watched it,
everybody already watched it. It's up. We did it Saturday night. And because our Lord and Savior Shane Van Gisbergen saw that we were having a shit week in views and was like, you know what, I gotcha, and went out and won Portland. And I just want to say, we are men of the people, and I'll leave it at that and play this clip.
Career win number 1 for Shane Van Gisbergen comes in Portland, Oregon.
We've heard you loud and clear, and Big Motor Small Blades' #1 rated segment is getting its own show.
The final time, onto the front stretch. He goes to the checker flag. He won the very first street race.
The rundown from Down Under. 6 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time, 1 a.m. Eastern on Big Motor Small Blade.
So, obviously, big news. The Rundown from Down Under is getting its own show. If you've watched On Tour, it's going to be kind of similar to that. And I just want to give a big thank you to everybody, all of our New Zealand and Australia listeners, but everybody out there, because I want to point out to you guys, when we came into this season, we've been doing this podcast since September of 2021. We'll call it 2-ish years when we came into this year that we've been doing this. We had 230 subscribers over 2 years. I mean, after last week, we had 464. So it's already been a great year for us. Just last week, because of you New Zealanders and Australians and Americans that love SVG, Big Motor Small Blade, we made a call, said, hey, help us get to 500. We sit at the time of this recording, 564 subscribers. We went up 100 subscribers in a week. And because of that, you guys have spoke loud and clear, and you guys are getting your Rundown from Down Under show. Obviously, we will still talk about Shane on here when he inevitably wins cup races. But you will get a more in-depth analysis of Shane's day week by week on the Rundown from Down Under. I'm excited. I think this is great, but you guys got to promise us something. You got to still listen to this show too.
All right, deal.
All right, bet.
All right, bet. All right.
Seth, give a thank you to everybody, man. I mean, it's your show too.
Thank you, everybody.
I swear, guys, Seth cares.
I do. I just can't show it legally. Anyway, was this race bitchin'? No, not particularly.
Not really, no.
No. All right. So whenever we go back after the Chicago street course runs its course and we go back to Chicagoland, maybe the next street race could be in St. Louis and we can dump Gateway.
I'm for it.
That's my new $1 million idea.
The finish line is under the arch.
I
That
was
would
about
be
to say, race around the arch. That'd be cool.
Race over the arch.
yes. Mario Kart, NASCAR, baby.
Hell yeah.
Just gives him rocket edges from Elon.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
shit.
All righty. Sundress and Dumbass. Sundress is Shane Van Gisbergen.
That's fair.
Because he's awesome. And we love him.
I'm going to go with Justin Haley.
That's a good pick.
Another 10th, 2 out of the last 3 weeks, he's finished 9th in a Rick Ware car. And I can't remember who it was, but someone on this podcast said when they announced he was going to Rick Ware, someone on this podcast said Justin Haley will win in 2 years with Rick Ware Racing.
It's not looking too far-fetched.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm a little bit proud of myself for that one.
I can't believe I said
that. Definitely not you that said that. It was
the hosts of the Big Motor Small Blade podcast, so it was me.
It was your old pal buddy. I said Justin Haley will win at Rick Ware Racing in 2 years. He's getting close. I think it just speaks to how good Justin Haley is. He's such a good driver, and I am excited for him to getting the fruits of his labor. Everybody said it was a dumb decision to go. I think we were maybe the only ones who kind of looked at it as it might not be too bad of a move. And look at what Colleague's doing, and look at what Rick Ware's doing. So Colleague and Cup.
If they could just keep Cody Ware out of the other car, that was sad. But anyway,
probably, yeah.
All right, Peter.
For my Sundress, I'll go one position better. Carson Hocevar. He made his Cup debut at Gateway last year. He was moving forward when his brakes flew out. He finally got the full racing this time and got his best career finish yet. 8th place in a Spire car is not something to gloss over.
No, it's not.
It transitions well into my dumbass.
It sure does. All right, my dumbass is NASCAR for still not having given Kyle Larson a waiver. One's really easy, guys. You don't want to see what your TV ratings are going to look like if during the playoffs, if Kyle Larson's not involved.
If your most popular driver is not involved. We already saw what that happened last year. What happened last year when that happened. You know, it's funny. I did a whole TikTok series about how Chase Elliott is not NASCAR's most popular driver. And I didn't
The
really mean
comments
it.
on that were gold.
They were hilarious. People roasted me. They didn't understand what I was saying. What I was saying is Chase Elliott, that we deemed most popular driver, is not the same Chase Elliott we have today. But that's besides the point. But I didn't anticipate him actually like getting a huge challenge for most popular driver this year. But my dumbass is 2. 1, Corey LaJoy for being sponsored by Chili's and sucking, because I went to Chili's last night and it did not sit well. It didn't sit at all, actually. It came right back up. So Corey LaJoy, Chili's, and Kyle Busch. Although I think Cheddar's would have sat better than Chili's did last night. But Kyle Busch, for just recognize your own position in life.
I could go for a cheddar salmon right now. That would be really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, Peter.
My dumbass just has to go to the Fox production staff. They just made too many issues this week that were too obvious.
Peter, I'm about to ruin your life.
We still got dinner with Chuck, and the third guy on the podcast still made Fox their dumbass. It's like Chuck never left.
Well, I'm about to, Peter. I'm gonna need you to pick a different dumbass. Chuck already took that one.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping y'all would forget that.
Nope. Buddy Pulley never forgets.
Yeah.
Well, look, if I can be Buddy Pulley for today, then he can be Chuck Folsom.
Okay, fine.
Okay, for dumbass, can I go the entire IndyCar series for that race that Push the Pass we'll talk about?
Yes.
We'll talk about. I didn't get to it today because I'm adjusting to a new schedule. We'll put it anyway. Yeah, but that is fair. That's fair.
Cool. Is that all we have?
Right. Picks.
I forget
who
we
won
did
the
that.
picks.
I
I didn't participate.
yeah. I mean, I guess protest, huh?
No, it was like Kyle. I meant to. I had every intention to, and it just didn't.
I'm not giving you a waiver. You didn't attempt.
Darn it.
Yeah. Who Chuck won? I can't remember who he picked.
Yeah, I don't remember. Who did he pick this week?
That's what I'm looking up.
We're not very prepared for this.
So Chuckerson, he already said it. He picked Cam Waters.
Oh yes, he picked Cam Waters.
Yes.
What car is he driving again? The
The
36.
Project 60.
Yeah, the Project 60.
Oh
Or
yeah.
Stage 60. Get it right, Peter.
Sorry, you're right.
Fucking
Stage
journalist.
60. That's
Stage
That's what
60.
they call it.
okay.
That's how many stages. That's what they're going to.
project number has kind of been taken already. I guess.
Yeah. I guess I didn't fucking. You know what? Because Shane is going to be spotting for him. Clearly he's going to do better. I'm picking Will Brown.
All right. Shit. I did not pick him. Okay. I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr.
Probably like a way smarter pick than ours.
I was going to go Truex, but just to be different, I'll go Chase Elliott. This seems like the only road course he has yet to win at. Watch that change on Sunday.
There's a reason why he sucks.
He didn't win at Indy.
That's accurate, yeah.
Of course, we don't run that one anymore. But
Chuck
I
picked
said-
Reddick.
yeah.
That's what happened.
Chuck picked Reddick. Yep, that's what he picked.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, cool. Is that
So,
all we
I mean,
had?
I was going to lose last week anyway because I'm terrible at this. And so at least I just saved myself from picking one. So I take it. That's fine.
I guess, yeah. That might be an advantage. I
could
did
be.
want to say before we go, we are also going to be firing back up the Q&A. It will be in our community tab after each cup race. You don't have to ask us a question about the cup race. You can ask us anything. Well, hang on, not anything. But you can ask us. You can ask us anything appropriate
About
or
Shane
racing.
Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, you can ask about Shane Van Gisbergen. You can ask about IndyCar. You can ask about Shane Van Gisbergen. You can ask about late models. You can ask about Shane Van Gisbergen. You can ask about my cat.
Dirt models?
No, you cannot ask about. If you ask about dirt late models, I don't know that YouTube has this feature, but I'm gonna block you. You can ask about just about everything else except for dirt
Santino
late models.
Ferrucci. Come on now. Let's
You
get
can
over
ask
it.
about Santino Ferrucci's stupid ass haircut. And you can
That's
ask us about
certain.
Shane Van Gisbergen. But yeah, we will be firing up the
I think you
Q&As again.
I think you forgot. You can definitely ask us about Shane Van Gisbergen
Thank you, dude. I almost fucking forgot, dude.
I can't believe you
suck
would
at
almost
this.
forget that.
Yeah, but yeah, anyway, that'll be on our community tab after every cup race. So you can go and ask a question there. Make sure you watch our other shows. We have other shows other than
We do have other shows.
the 10 minutes we talk about Shane Strick.
Yes. Again, if you like if you like Scott McLaughlin, he's an IndyCar. I talk about him.
Yep.
When he does something, which he didn't really this week, but we'll mention him for the views.
Yep. Justin Marks, our Sam Van Gisbergen's owner, Justin Marks, owns the car store. We talk about that on our show on tour and
See,
late model
everything
racing in
relates
general.
back to Shane Van
Everything.
Gisbergen somehow. It really does.
It really, yeah. So, but next week on the rundown, it will be, as you saw on the promo, it will be on every Sunday or Monday. That's dependent on whether he runs the cup race or not. Next week, it will be on Monday as well, just because he's spotting the cup race. And also we have Cam Waters and Will Brown in the cup race as well. So we'll talk about them as well. So, yep. Look out for that. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Seth, you're the host. You can close it out.
Yep. So if we don't have anything else, that's been the Big Motor Small Blade podcast. He's been Buddy Poley. That's been not Chase Folsom. He's been Peter Strada from TSJ Sports. Dude, I'm having a rough one today. And I have been Seth. So we'll see y'all next week. I need to get out of this.
Go fuck yourselves.